Hello, hello, hello. My name is Carrie Thompson Morrow, and welcome to the Boston Branded Podcast. I am super excited today because you guys know I love to just shine light on amazing people doing amazing things. And today is just that. I have my friend, we met at JVology, Rob. Like, he is so sweet. He's so sweet. He has so much energy, and you're gonna love him. You're gonna love all the things, and I'm just super excited to just talk to him about like how he came to being on stage, being an actor, a thespian, and coming to the online world. All right, guys, let's get into it. I'm just saying, guys. I think my intro is amazing. So literally, I'm just gonna always dance to it because I just think it's so great, and I love it. Friend.
And I agree. That was an awesome introduction. I was watching it. I was like, da, 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 da. Yeah, this is good.
I love it. How are you? How is your day?
I'm
I love
so
your
good.
camera. You look so
Thank you.
great.
It's brandy new, so you're the first one that gets to your people get to see it for the first time. So hopefully I do good with it.
Oh, you look so great.
I'm awesome. I'm so excited to be here. Like you told everybody in the beginning, we met a few weeks ago at JVology Live, and what a fun event that was, and how much fun was to connect with you.
Fun. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
Yeah, I think we met on the very first day. Nobody was.
Did.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "What do you do? What do you do?" And I remember asking Carrie, like, "What do you do for fun?" kind of thing. You know.
And I think I was like, I'm a lover of all things matcha.
Yes, you were never lacking in the fun department. I know that. I knew that instantly about you. So.
No, I'm super excited. Okay. So we're gonna like dive head first. We're just gonna go up. We're just gonna climb up there. We're just gonna like get on the thing. We're gonna get our position. We're just gonna go in.
All right.
Okay. So you were like a thespian, like you were like an actor,
Yes.
and then like so tell me about like how you got into that, and then how did you just have like this genius idea of like I'm gonna leave like the world of the shine and the glitz and come hang out in the amazing world of entrepreneurship.
Well, I went to school for theater. It is something that I really fell in love with in high school, and so I decided to major in college and really wanted to pursue it. I never imagined in a million years that I would go to school and then move to a place like New York. I grew up in a very small town with no stoplights, kind of thing. A high school with like several schools went to my high school, kind of thing. A small place.
Oh wow!
But I love making people laugh. I love singing. I love entertaining people. So that's really what drew me into it. Was I really, I grew up in a family. I'm youngest of 5 kids, and you either had to learn how to make people laugh, or you didn't get any attention. So we were constantly, making jokes, and really sort of honed having a sense of humor. I think as a child. So it was just a natural fit for me to go into theater. And so I moved to New York, and I couldn't believe it when I got here. And then after a few years of being here, I was like, I really like living here. I don't really like this lifestyle of having to get up at 5 a.m. and go stand in line outside to get into a room to sing a few bars of music to then to be like, okay, thanks. When I would book jobs, it was great, but those were far and few between. And I just decided that wasn't really the lifestyle for me. It wasn't how I wanted to live. So I ended up having lots of different kinds of jobs, and then landed back in the business side of theater. So I worked in the theater box office for a very long time. So I still got to be around my people, all the theater people that I loved, got to see them, got to see shows. So it was a great working environment, but I missed doing creative things. products. So I had this idea at a certain point to start making my own greeting cards. I was looking for greeting cards I liked and couldn't find a lot of them. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start my own business doing this. How hard can this be? Whew, wish I had
How hard
known that.
could it be? It can't be that hard.
Oh, a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But I actually early on I was making handmade cards, and so I had a spot on an HGTV Christmas special that they were doing. So it kind of like took off in weird ways, and then it kind of morphed, and I started doing trade shows and actually getting traction. I worked with sales reps around the country. And that's when I met one of my very close friends, who still good friends today. And we decided to write a couple of books for people in the industry, because people were asking, oh, how do I work with sales reps, and how do I build a greeting card line that stores will want to buy? So we put out a book about working with reps, and then a book about doing trade shows. And that really took off in a way I never expected. People started coming to us and wanted coaching and consulting.
Wow.
And then led to speaking gigs, which was like, hey, this is even a better stage. I didn't have to audition for this one. You just hire me and I'll come and do a talk. So
I love those. I love those stages.
Those are so great. So that took on a life of its own. So I ended up closing doing my stationery line greeting cards, because it's not, that's not the biggest growth industry. So I knew it would sort of peter out at some point. And I started focusing on, I went back and got a coaching certificate, started helping other creatives with their businesses. And that just kept shifting to, it kept coming back. I kept seeing the same problem over and over again with people with marketing. They didn't know how to talk about their business. They didn't really understand the problems they solve for people. They're like, I want to help people and do things and, make them awesome. I'm like, great. Well, let's find something that people will put down their dollar bills for. And so working on those things, helping you with messaging and building a business, it morphed another time into working more, not from creative people exclusively, because, they don't always have the most money, to more of solopreneurs, coaches, consultants, those types of people who are really looking to grow their businesses and, had the funds to invest in growing a business too as well. So it was kind of this weird, strange journey. And if you'd ask me,
and the thing is, like, what I love about what you said is you knew the people that you wanted to serve, but you also knew that the people that you wanted to serve might not be the people who could afford your service. So you had to create a shift. I feel like there's so many people that, and it's funny because I was this person too, so I'm completely there, was that I was like, I just want to serve all the people, like I just want to help all the people. And then what would happen is they would come to me and they would ask for these things, and they would be like, you know what, Carrie, like, can you do like $100? I'm like, $100? Like, what am I gonna do with that? I had a team of 14. Like, I have a team of 14. Like, I can't like literally, I remember there was some months that like I was paying to be in business because I was just paying my team to be in business. Because like our clients that we had were paying us such a small amount that it was just like, it didn't make sense. And I was like, and I remember my husband, he was just like, Carrie, like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I just want to help all the people.
He's like, it's hard.
In business.
You have a big heart, and a lot of people do, and that is a hard thing to sort of reckon with. Of you want to, but you have to come back to the place of you can't help people if you can't help yourself. If you can't keep your lights on and have food on the table. So, and I completely get that perspective, and I can't say that I haven't done that myself at certain times of my life, or I've extended myself for clients and I've wanted to help, but. Trying to make sure at least I pay my rent every month at this point.
Yeah. Look, like this is like my goal now is like, as long as all my bills get covered, we can do, like, we can, if we have that solidified, I can then go and help people who might not have the money. And it's funny because like that's for me why I start creating premium offers, was because I knew I needed to create a balance. If I was going to say that I wanted to serve people who were starting in their business who didn't really have the budget for it, I knew I needed to have clients that had the budget for it, who I could charge those premium rates for. So then I wasn't at this like sense of bitterness, because I'm like, I'm paying to run this business, and then they're not even listening to what I'm telling them to do.
Yeah, that's a difficult spot when, people, especially, I feel like there's a rule that people who pay the least are a lot of times the people who are who don't take your advice because they're not invested in it, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things about I try to impart on some people I work with is that you're not out to gouge people, but they have to have an investment in what you're doing. Otherwise, it's not important enough for them.
Yep.
If it's $5, that's easy to blow off. If it's several $100s or a thousand
Because you can
dollars,
rationalize it.
yeah,
You can rationalize it. Like, it's funny. It's so funny. So, like, when I was in corporate, like, I had a gym membership, and I was paying, like, don't every time my husband hears, he's like, I can't believe you used to do this. Like, I was paying like $300 a month, but I would never go to the gym.
wow,
And he
that
was
must have been a
like,
nice gym.
what are you doing? And I was like, but because I rationalized in my head, because I was bougie at that time, so I was like, well, I would rationalize, okay, $350. I probably would waste it anyway in the month. So it's not like that big of a deal. Like, that's what I would be thinking. But that's what happened. But that's what people do when you have those lower ticket rates. They rationalize they would have wasted it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's just not a very quick way to build a business or to get something done. I
Yeah.
feel like, I feel like if someone hands you those opportunities, you need to grab them with both hands and do the work and do everything they say.
And clearly
I think
I wasn't utilizing the gym because I was still overweight. And I'm just like, I could be here. I could have my summer body already.
yeah.
And I'm over here just like not listening. Like, I had like a personal trainer. It's funny because like he used to call me and I would like I would like ignore his calls. And I was like, not today. So that's what it would be like. It was hilarious. But no, I am better
That's
now. I am
awesome.
on the journey now. So I'm losing weight.
Yeah, nice. Good for you. It's not easy post COVID with everybody being home and not even taking walks outside and whatnot.
Oh my gosh! Like, my niece actually is she's my little accountability partner.
Yep.
For my
Hi.
I hope you know you're alive. She's my accountability partner for my working out and my eating right. She'll be like, Auntie, that is not plant-based. That is not healthy. Come work out with me. We need to go do this. And I'm like, okay, I'm on it.
And guess
Good.
what? She only gets chocolate like twice a week.
And it's
Nice.
normally
That's good.
it's normally given to me by her as a reward.
Uh-huh. That's good.
Now,
That's
and once
good.
that chocolate week is over, you're back to eating cucumbers and veggies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she would be like, Auntie, that is not.
And how much is she charging you for all that advice?
Yeah, she's a mess. She's a mess. Yeah, she's a mess. We just got her a slime maker today, so she's trying to make her new slime. So she's like, Auntie, when are we making my slime? And so I've been like pushing her back all day. So she's like,
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm actually I'm really excited. But yeah, okay, so you came into the world, you made the shift and you realized that you couldn't, like, you had to like shift the people that you served, and then you realized that you wanted to serve entrepreneurs. Okay, so tell me more.
Hey, more. Well, one of the things I think that's so hard for people who are solopreneurs or entrepreneurs when they're first getting started is that there are so many things they need to do. And so a lot of them end up doing stuff. Someone says, do this, so you do it. Do this, so you do it. Rather than taking it through, okay, what are the actual pieces I need to build a business? People go, oh, I want to, make classes and sell them. Well, great. Well, who are you going to sell those to? People. So, okay, well, who are those people? So you haven't identified the people. You don't have an email list of any kind of sorts. You probably don't have an audience or a community like a Facebook group, nobody to market to, but you've got this really killer class you made that you spent hours and hours making and probably financially invested in it too, and you can't do anything with it. So, in terms of like, I see a lot with entrepreneurs is a lot of coaches push people to build their email list. They're like, build a list, build a list, build a list. That's great. So, and they teach them perhaps how to sell to that list, how to make offers. But what they don't do is they don't teach them what to do with the list after they build it and put it all together. So that's sort of where I come in, is I help people nurture those lists, talk to them, build a community, build relationships. People like to do business with people that they know and they like and they trust. And a great way to do that is to send nurture emails or value emails where you're adding value to people's lives. You're giving them information and resources that they can use rather than just selling to them or only contacting them when you need something. I mean, I can't tell you how many emails I got from people whose list I was on that I hadn't heard from in months and months. And as soon as everything shut down in March and April of last year, those emails just came. Exactly. They're like, oh, I want to sell you this and buy my stuff. And the perfect time, I'm like, where have you been the last 6 months? I haven't heard anything from you. So personally, I am less likely to want to take a class or join a program with somebody who only shows up when they need money. When when they see dollar signs, they see me, bing, bing, bing. It's like, well, how about let's get to be friends first. Let's find me a drink at the bar or a cup of coffee. Let's have a chat. Let's get to know each other. And I think you have such a great social media feed, like especially Instagram. You do all kinds of great things that are not selling. They're entertaining, but they're also educational. Like you add so much value to your social media feeds, and that is something I think a lot of people miss with their emails too. They don't add any value. And so you could go on and just be like, I'm doing this thing, buy this or join this program, but you have such a good time at that. And I think people don't want to do that with their emails because they get stuck. They don't know how to write, or they're like, oh, it has to be perfect or grammatically correct, and all those other excuses. When really, say what's in your head. What's going on? What are you thinking about? What's new for you this week? What did you learn? Like all those good things.
Literally, like I was just having this conversation because like one of the things that we talk about in our world is we always talk about like creating this frictionless branding experience by creating a brand that truly aligns with the heart of your client. And when you do that, you're writing stuff, you're creating content for them, not really for you. Like you're creating for them to be able to understand that your heart understands their heart. So when you have those messages and when you send those messages out, even in emails and on social media, the premise is to say, hey, this is what's going on with me. Have you ever experienced that before? Have you had a situation like that before? Things like that, because that's what's going to feed people to be like, oh my gosh, yes, this is what I've been experiencing too. This is so in alignment with where I'm at.
Yeah. And I love that, like you're talking about the heart, because we have to treat people that we're involved with like people. Right? This is relationship building 101.
Yes.
This is the goal. The goal is to focus on serving them. And yes, at some point you're going to ask them to buy something or come to your event or do your program. But we have to care about them as people. Like, the people who make like, the groceries I eat or the clothes I make, they don't really care about me. Like that's a huge conglomerate, blah, blah, blah. They pretend. But if you're a small business or a solopreneur, there are a million people who do what you do. They're copywriters, creative people, graphic designers, social media people. So the difference between someone hiring you and that other person is the relationship that they have with you. They get you, they understand you, they know that you're a person behind the business, that you care. I mean, you can't know everybody. I mean, if you've got thousands of people on your list, you can't know everybody, but if, every time you send something of value, you ask somebody to respond and say, what did you think about this? Or how did this help you? Or what will you do with this information? And you get a handful of responses every time, then that's great. You're
my
opening the door
gosh.
to that relationship.
You're speaking my language. So literally, like, I literally talk about this all the time. I talk about this all the time because it's like you can't just keep being all like ingenuine, because
Mhm.
this is what happened. COVID happened, and COVID messed up everything for these people who are like that, because literally their colors got shown, because when they felt the panic, they got so salesy and so slimy, and were just
Mhm.
pushing out their products. And there was so many people that did it that they were like, I thought they cared about me. I guess they don't. They
They
don't
care about your wallet or your pocketbook.
They care about my wallet and my purse. Like, that's what they
Yes.
care about. And the thing is, like, what happened is people realize that there's so many people doing the same thing, with the
Yeah.
same features, with the same services and things like that. They had to be able to create. You have to create a brand and a message that shows who you are, because that's the only way you can differentiate yourself now. Your service and your features and your bonuses and all that stuff, it doesn't matter anymore. Nobody cares, because everybody
Right.
sells a lot. People sell the same thing. Like, I tell people, there's so many brand strategists in the world. There's so many. I can throw a rock right now and hit maybe like 10. But the thing, like, it's that many people out there. But literally, like, people choose me because, one, I feel like we're quite different. I'm just gonna say that I feel like we're different. But one, we're different with our personality. One, we're different because of the way we structure it. But the thing is, if they didn't understand that structure, because a lot of times people don't see that structure until they have a conversation with us. But what they see is that, hey, Carrie actually has a brand. Two, Carrie actually is a person. And if she understand, if she's this way with her own brand, just imagine what she would be like with mine.
Yeah. It's almost like your brand, and I imagine this is true with people you work with too. It really, and this should be true for everybody, it becomes really an extension of your values and of you and your personality. You're having fun. I mean, like, every time I was on this before we got on the call. I'm like, look at their Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And every time I see you on Instagram, it just makes me happy, because you bring that energy to that. And I'm sure, I'm not on your email list right now. I probably need to sign up, but I'm sure that you do that in your emails. And
Look, I'm gonna tell you now. I'm like,
well.
I'm starting it up.
Okay.
I'm starting right now. If you were on my email list, you wouldn't see anything, because, like, I'm like a ghost. I'm like,
well, I'm gonna get your niece on you. She's gonna keep you accountable. So,
but when I say, like, I was telling, it was funny. I was talking to my husband and my operation manager, but Sharice was there, and I was telling them, I was like, I really wanted, like, I want to do my email list, but I wanted to be, like, so, like, Carrie-fied of, like, hey, how's your week? Maybe throw a couple reels on there and be like, hey, just want to brighten up your day, because that's how we do anyway, like, when we just have general conversation with people. So I was like, I would want my email list to be that same way, and then also provide resources, because for us, with the stuff that we sell, it's where people have to, one, buy into who we are before they can buy into our services, because our stuff is at a higher, like, we sell 25K offers. You got to trust me.
Yeah. That's not no $300 gym membership. That's for sure.
Yeah, like, look, if it was, I would have been like, what you need, sir? What you need? You want me to do what? But yeah, like, you have to trust me. So, like, for me, it's like, that's what I think about when it comes to, like, our stuff. It's like, my only goal is to provide people with quick wins to get them prepared to work with us, and then to make people feel like they can understand who I am inside and my heart. And if my heart matches their heart, then we're going to be a great fit.
Yeah. And you said something that I wrote down about your emails about having conversations, because that's what it really is. I mean, there's people on your who will be on your list that you're going to start emailing that you may never meet. So this is your way to have conversations with them and get maybe they're not social media people, but maybe they'll read your email. So it's a chance to get that dialogue going. And you can learn so much from people. I got one, I'm in the middle of an event right now, and I'm getting lots of people opting into my list and getting a free offer that I'm doing. And one of the second emails you get is to ask you, like, it tells you a little bit more about me, and it asks you questions like, tell me about you, or what's going on, or what are you struggling with? And when people respond, that makes me so happy, because I get one step closer to being able to treat them more like friends who are on my email list, as opposed to I'm guessing as to what you want from me. So if you can, it's amazing. It's amazing to watch how it develops, and you just have to start that process. And writing like you talk, like a lot of people do that, and it's hard for some people. But that's why I tell people, you know what, if that's not doesn't translate like from your head to your your fingers, then get out your phone and record it, or do a video, and then maybe you transcribe that video. You can do it yourself, which is difficult. There's lots of services where you can do it automatically. That's called machine transcription, auto transcription, or even pay somebody to do it. And if that's what gets you to write emails without writing them, then do that. Like, make it work.
Otter. So Otter AI, buy it. It's like $9 a month. Literally, like the call, like not this call because I'm like I always forget, but normally like most of my sales calls and conversations that I have in Zoom, it automatically will record it, and then it'll create a transcription. Literally, like, and if you have the pro version, what I want to say is it's like $19 a month or something. You can literally upload videos, and it'll create the transcriptions for it. So that's what our team uses for a lot of the content for our clients. But it's so easy, and because like for me, I talk super fast, so that's why a lot of times the transcriptions didn't work right, because it would miss a word, or it was like, I don't know what she said, so I'm just gonna say unrecognizable. But yeah, like they click it and they're like, boop, 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 boop. I'm like, yes. So like that's what we use. And it was like, when I say got sent, literally I have clients that they have like blog posts, like really long blog posts that they're like, okay, I need to write, and they'll be driving in their car, and they'll just like they'll get that inspo, and then they'll just like start talking it out.
Yeah, that's brilliant, and that's great to hear that you use that, because it's such an obstacle for people. Some people are not great writers, and that's okay. It's not everybody's skill set. So that is a fantastic way to get around it, because it's kind of like, you may not know what to write, but if I sat you down, you always are going to have plenty of great things to say. And I think most people who own a business are like that too. It's not that they don't know what to say, it's that they don't think they know what to say in an email. So make it an actual conversation and then put it into print. Yeah. That's great. I'm gonna check out that site. I've not used that one. I've used Rev before. Rev.com.
Rev is a little pricey.
Yeah.
So but I do like the fact that you can search it. I like the search part of Rev, because one of my clients uses it, and I was like, oh, I like this. So I like Rev.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, Otter's really good too. You'll like Otter, because Otter you can do like anywhere, because you can do it on your phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's really
we'll check that out. Awesome.
Okay, so tell the world, what is going on in your world?
So, well, I'm in New York, so right now we're just like the rest of the world. We're all very slowly coming back out of our shells and getting back out into the world. So I'm looking forward to getting out there a little bit this summer. But in terms of business, I am, working with lots of folks to help them get their email accounts back in shape of sorts, of helping them, put together like new lead magnets so they can attract the right people, helping them with sequences, like okay, you got people signed up. What's the first 5 emails you're going to get? Or, what are people haven't opened emails in a while? How do we get those people re-engaged? You can set up emails for that. But the nurture ones are kind of my favorite, because I'm a creative guy. So But I know people struggle with that. So I've been teaching on other people's platforms, going in and offering these templates I put together so that they can sort of have a guide. Some of them are very plug and play, like put this here, put this here, put this here, send. And some of them are longer to use. They take a little bit more writing, but they give people a structure to sort of say, okay, here's what I want to talk about. Does it fit into one of these kinds of templates? Is it something inspirational I want to send out? Do I want to teach people? Do I want to give people resources? Do I want to give a little value and then get them to go to my blog or listen to my podcast? So those kinds of things. It just makes it easier. I mean, you couldn't take one of my templates and send it to somebody because it would have a lot of like, put this here, put that here. But it takes the guesswork out of what to put in, like, oh, put a couple of valuable points here. Oh, tie it up. Oh, here, ask a question. So it just makes it easier for people who struggle with those blank pages, because that can be the most intimidating thing, is just this blank computer screen that you need to fill.
Yeah, that's the same way with our clients when it comes to graphics and stuff. They're like, Gary, I don't want. It's like this. They'll be like, Gary, I'm in Canva and all I can see is white space, and I don't know where to go from there. And I'm like, first get out of Canva. Get out. We're gonna get out right now. I'll create you some templates in Canva, and you use that. Okay? Relax, breathe. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. I'm here.
But I imagine that giving people that starting place is really helpful, because then they don't have to worry about, they can you can help them get their colors and all the right fonts and things in one place, and then they can move it around and whatnot. But they're not guessing like, do I use this font that looks like candy canes, or should I use this other one that Carrie says looks better with my, like.
I love the candy canes, but no, I wonder if Carrie will be upset. It's so funny. My clients are so hilarious. I love them so much. They'll be like, Carrie, this is what they'll do. I'll get on a call and it's like, hey, Carrie. I'm like, hey, how are you? Might be a little upset. But I tried some stuff. I'm like, what did you try? Okay, before you see it, just know that, like, and no, it's not at your level, but I did try some things. I'm like, relax, breathe. They're like, I know how you feel it. Like, because they know I'm just like, why don't you do what I give you? Let's just stay on track. Let's stay on brand. So they get nervous when they're like, I know I went off brand and Carrie's going to get me.
Oh, that's awesome. You have them well trained then to behave themselves and stay up.
Yeah, they're just like, they'll be like, Carrie, what do you think? And then they'll be like, what is she going to say? And it's so funny because I'll be like, they say, when I say that's cute, they'll be like, oh no, it's cute. You know what it means when she says it's cute? I'm like, I'm like, it's cute. They're like, no, you don't. When you say it's cute, that means something totally different.
She said it's cute. It's the kiss of death is what she really means. Like, really, get that out of my sight. Just wheel it over here, okay? Let's just pretend that didn't happen. It's cute, yeah.
They're like, oh, that's really, and I don't even mean it. I'm like, oh, that's really cute. They'll be like, oh no.
Oh my gosh. That would make me laugh hysterically if I was probably not if I was trying to do some stuff to be like, look what I did. But I think I may just, if I was doing that, I'd just sneak it in on the side. Like, I'm not going to show Carrie. I'll just pretend over here. I'm just gonna wait.
Or just use the templates. Just use the templates. We create beautiful templates.
Yes. Oh,
okay. So you said that so you have a launch. You're in a launch right now. A challenge.
I'm not actually in. Oh yes, I am in a challenge. Sorry, I'm in a challenge. It's a giveaway event.
Okay.
It is called the Done For You giveaway events, and it's actually a lot of fun. It's there are 23 people involved, and all the gifts being given away are things that are, practically done for you. Like, I have my templates in there, so it makes it easier to write. There's a book manuscript you can get for free. There are sales scripts. There are welcome sequences for emails, all kinds of good stuff. So if you are around, it's Done For You. I don't know if it's the letter 4 or it's FOR, but it's one of those, Done For You. And it's a great opportunity to get some cool stuff that's already kind of done for you. So you can grab my templates as part of that giveaway in there as well too. I have some templates in there, and and there's a cool prize that I'm giving away. Don't tell Carrie because she might not like it, but it has it's called the Content Marketing Super Pack, where it has pre-written inspirational emails. And it has graphics that you can use on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. So they might not be Carrie approved, but if you win one of those, I'm giving 3 of those away as part of the giveaway. So you can enter to get those too as well. So
it might not be Carrie approved because
no, it might not be.
It's funny. It's funny because like I've been wrestling. So I'm in this high-end coaching program. And she told me that she wanted me to be the person that redefines branding, which I'm excited about because I still can do it. But the part, it's like from now I start thinking about it, and I'm like, templates. They don't work. And they don't. And this is the reason why I say they don't work. So the idea of creating a brand is to create a brand that evokes a certain or a visual brand. A visual brand is to create a certain emotion, to invoke an emotion from your Raven fan or your client. So if you have templates that everybody else is using, how are you doing that?
It's a good point. That's a good point. So for you, templates are probably not the way to go, but it still doesn't mean you can't revolutionize branding. Because I would put my money on you to be the one to do that. So because I've met some other branding people who are like, yeah, not so much. Like I'm already bored. So I would put my money on you to be the one that changes the face of it, because I think that's a confusing thing. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine I've been doing some work with. We did a lead magnet and an option page and some good stuff to get her going with her list. But she got on this whole tangent about like, well, branding and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, that is important. But if you have no one even to talk to at this point, don't be worried about the font on your website. Like that is going to be your important thing that you should start working on. But if you have no, I don't know, you disagree with me, but I feel like it is very important. But if you've never even run a business before,
and the thing is, like, what I tell a lot of people is when it comes to your branding, the first thing that you want to do is you want to figure out who is your human that you serve. And like, who is your Raven fan? And once you figure out who they are innately, not like, oh, they do this and they hang here, these are the places they watch TV, and this is these things, and this, all that surface level stuff that is not going to ever really drive the message home. When you figure out that, then when it comes to your visuals, the only questions you have to ask is this going to evoke an emotion from this person? And if those colors and those fonts don't invoke those emotions, then they're not your colors and fonts to use. But the issue is nobody wants to do that work. So then they start creating brands on stuff they think is pretty, and then it doesn't have any structure. And then when it comes to them trying to find people who they want to work with and things like that, it's not in alignment.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. I just, some of the folks I work with, don't have $5 to their names after they've paid me. I was going to say, but that's not true. They're so at the beginning. So let me ask you this as a branding person. So if you met someone that was brand new, like let's just say they had just gotten let's take a coach, for instance. They had just gotten their coaching certificate and they were just getting ready to start working. They have a handful of clients that maybe they're working with, but they don't have the money to invest in, let's say, somebody like you who is top notch. So what would you recommend for them? Because what you said about finding your people, like that goes along with just even having a business, I think, because once you know who your audience is, and like you said, you really know them, it makes everything else fall into place. And branding is obviously one of those pieces. But what kind of advice would you give to somebody who is so new like that?
Yeah, so literally what I would tell them is like, one, figure out your person. And once you figure out your person, then you want to double down and figure out what is the brand archetype that expresses the journey that you're trying to take them on. So every brand archetype, and archetypes are kind of like the motivating factors that drive them to do the things that they do in every aspects of their life. So certain people are driven to seek security in everything they do in their life. So that person would always be attracted to a brand that is embodying the innocent brand archetype, because they're speaking to their actual heart and they're like, oh my God. So even if it's something completely different that's not even in a place that seems safe, if that person creates a brand or a structure around that innocent brand archetype, then they can tap into anybody that's always seeking security in every aspect of their life, because they'll be like, oh my gosh, he understands this. I feel seen from this person. I don't know how I do, but I feel seen, because their subconscious is like, oh, hey, you know me? I know you too. What's up? And then and I always tell people, like, literally it says 91% of people make buying decisions subconsciously before they make it. So that's 91% that's tapped into the brand archetypes under like driving factors, like really understanding you're human before you even have to get into the visual aspect. You just have to put the dollop on top to make sure the emotions get invoked.
Yeah.
So then once you double down on your brand archetype, then literally all you have to do is, like, I would say, do color theory and figure out like what colors work for that emotion that you're trying to evoke. And don't pick colors that you think are pretty.
What if they're pretty and I think they invoke the emotions that I want?
Well, that's perfect. Then you have a match made.
Okay, good. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, like it's funny. Like, we'll have clients, we'll create a color palette, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so great! I love it." And then they'll go into like the thing, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's exactly what I was. Exactly the emotions that I want to create for them." And I'm like, "Yeah, because we created your human first."
Yeah. That makes sense. It's like it's like picking up the paint colors for the house before you even like put up the first wall. It's like we need to place the paint first here, kids. We can't start with the
we need to place the paint. We don't know what, like, we're talking about, we want to do siding, but we might need to do a whole nother look because of the weather. Like, you gotta know the factors. Like the factors are the things that could affect like what you're trying to do. That's why it's important to understand you're human.
Yeah, absolutely. And that carries through from branding all the way in through other aspects of marketing too. The way you talk to them, what you talk about, what kind of offers you make, who else you bring in to make offers to your people to add value. Like what else, what are all the things that make them a person? What are they interested in? What do they love? What do they, what really makes them excited about?
And it's funny because I tell people, and it's like a lot of marketers don't like when I say this, but that's why branding has to come first, because branding is what sets the stage for the voice, the messaging, and things like that, so that the marketers can then take that and implement it in all aspects of the business.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And it's all works together. It has, as our friend Jay Facette would say, it has flow to it.
It has flow.
Has flow. I love that.
Flow. Oh my gosh, this call was so good. We had so much fun. This call was so good. You're so amazing. I'm so excited to know you. And welcome to the Boston Branded family.
Woo! Thank you for having me today. I always have a good time when we chat. And so I'm just very honored to be here and to hopefully get to know some of your people too and your audience, and at some point add more value to their lives and be a resource for you too, because you are one of the smartest, talented, pretty, like this woman, she has it all. So get in with her now before you really can't afford her. So now is the time, because she is going to be the one to change the face of branding, I think, because she is all that.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. You're going to make me cry. That's what you get for being here.
I would be announced to call you the Boston Branded bunch of this family.
Aww.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you next week for another episode of Boss and Branded Podcast. Have an amazing day.